Why are you concerned about whether they're in heaven or hell? Why are you missing the point? What are you going to learn from whether they're in heaven? Now, okay, now I'm good. They're in heaven. Okay. Learn the lesson. Learn the lesson. Why are you missing the point? And this is something we have to really internalize in our study of the Quran.
This video is a short snippet of our deeper look of Surah Al-Qalam, which is now available to watch on the newly improved Bayyina TV. Learn about this surah and many others in the deeper look section of the app.
Sometimes we study the Quran and we alhamdulillah, we have the culture of memorizing the Quran, reciting the Quran, but we don't have the culture of thinking about the Quran. That's not in our culture. And it's very, very unfortunate. Because then our thoughts about Islam are based on everything else except the Quran. The Quran is not shaping our thinking about what Allah said, what Islam is about. And the irony of it all, the world was revolutionized by the coming of the Quran. And Islam spread because the Quran came. The Quran was the haqqul yaqeen. That's what it's describing itself as. An-naba'ul azim. That's the great news, right? And this is and we're the carriers of it. And ironically, we're the least literate in the Quran. And just think of this ayah. Like, how many people are hearing, for instance, just as a social experiment now, how many people in this audience are hearing for the first time that taqwa can have a definition that doesn't have to do with rituals? In this case, it has to do with combating greed. Isn't that shocking? That's shocking, right? It's there. It's not hidden. It's not a hidden text. It's right there. We're not there. And this is this show of hands is very encouraging to me, actually, because this is why I was doing Quran Week. Because I want to restore our collective, conscious engagement with the text, with Allah's words, collectively. We need to create a Quran culture. A Quran culture. That's truly the Islamic culture. And in the shade of the Quran's culture, we get to understand the Sunnah, we get to understand the Seerah, we get to understand Islamic law. Those are the things that complement our understanding of the Quran. But the Quran should be primary. It's not a secondary. It is the primary, right? So inna lil muttaqina 'inda rabbihim jannatin na'im. I'll tell you something about the word jannat. So here we were running after one garden, and Allah offers in Akhirah multiple gardens. And when Allah offers multiple gardens, the suggestion is each garden has its own qualities. If Allah gave us 20 gardens and they all look the same, what would be the point? Each garden has its own features. Each garden has its own joys. Each garden comes with its own company. Maybe one garden is for all your friends in your friend's neighborhood. Maybe another garden is in a prophet's neighborhood. Maybe another garden is in the believers you never met that were just like you, but 10,000 years apart from you. Another garden is just for people who just want to seek knowledge. Another garden is just for the athletes. Another garden just for, different gardens. They're different gardens. And, beautiful facilities, whether they're a hotel or they're a college campus or they're a palace or they're anything, you don't just get to the building. You have to go through a what? A garden. There's a lot of landscaping in expensive places. There's the lawn, and then there's the White House, right? There's the long driveway with trees laid on both sides, and then you get to the mansion, right? So this concept of gardens, don't say, oh, we're just going to get a giant backyard in Jannah, that's it, that's all he had. Is there any indoor situation? I'm not a camper. What Allah is referring to is, what's the first thing you're going to see? It's the gardens. And you go through this beautiful, lush property to get to your mansion, which is part of the joy of privacy, right? Because you want company in Jannah, but you also want privacy in Jannah. Sometimes you have these really beautiful homes, and you open your window, and there's your neighbor staring at you from their window, right? Like there's no privacy, right? But Jannah, because it's lush gardens, you have complete privacy. Like Muslims have a really hard time buying a house with a lot of glass, right? Because that means a lot of curtains, which means a lot of dust. Because we can't just like, you know, just leave the house open like that for any eyes to peer. But if you had an acreage and it was laden with trees, and in the middle of those woods you got your garden, you got your property, complete privacy, then ooh, that'd be nice, you know. And the coolest designs nowadays in interior design and architecture, there's this attempt to bring the outside inside. You guys know that, right? So you feel like you're outside, but you're still in. There's plenty of sunlight coming in, but it's not glaring. You have the view of the swimming pool or the backyard or the trees. Or sometimes they'll even design a house where there was a beautiful tree, but it was right in the middle of the property. They won't compromise the tree. They'll just build a corridor, all glass corridor, in the middle of the kitchen for the tree to be preserved. And it's absolutely stunning. What's human obsession with Jannat, right? Because the serenity that comes from it, the calm you feel when you see greenery and when you see water, right? And and you'll find the view is really important in real estate. So if you have a water view or a mountain view or a green view, then the property price goes significantly higher, right? And you have in the Quran mansions on top of mountains with the view of the waterfall. In fact, the waterfall is right underneath you, and all this, the things that human beings value the most are actually all being incorporated in Jannat and Na'im. But my favorite word in all of this is actually an-Na'im. It's so loaded. The word Na'im we saw in the beginning, Ma anta bi ni'mati rabbika bi majnoon. So ni'mah came before and now Na'im is coming. And there's a connection, right? The ni'mah of Allah up there was the word of Allah and the guidance of Allah. And the guidance of Allah, that ni'mah will lead to this Na'im. That ni'mah will lead to this. It's anchoring those two words together. But the word Na'im is called a sifa mushabbaha in Arabic, an adjective that refers to something permanent. The garden, in any garden you get in this world, cannot be permanent. It will go through a season and it will lose its season. Right? It'll be sarim eventually. Right? But Allah is offering us gardens that are na'im. They're permanently luxurious. Jannat and na'im. And characterizing them with na'im also has another meaning. Not just that they will be permanent, but sometimes you go to a place and you love it. Like you go to, let's say if you've been to a vacation. I don't know if you guys can even go on vacation because you're already in a vacation spot. But like, let's say you go to a place for vacation, right? And you got there, you got to the hotel, you got to your resort or whatever. It's the beachfront cabin, some gorgeous place. You love it. You absolutely love it. You like, of course, if you love it, you better show that love through your device because your eyes are not enough to appreciate a blessing. You need technology to appreciate the blessing, right? So you do that. You're done with taking all the selfies and you're just loving it. And then they say to you, yeah, I hope you enjoy your 3-year stay. Oh, three years? I was having here for 3 days. You must be mistaken. No, it's for 3 years. You're like, I can't stay in a place like this for 3 years. I mean, I'll get tired of this place. I mean, the beach will look amazing on day 1. It'll be pretty cool on day 2. Pretty cool on day 3. Day 35. Day 50. Day 70. Day 100. You see newcomers come, oh my God, this is so beautiful. And you're like, I miss home. I don't want to be here. I'm tired of this place. It's not that exciting anymore. It's not that exciting anymore. I have traveled so much in my life, and people I've been to Australia, I've been to Europe, I've been all over these places, and when I go somewhere, they're like, so did you get to look around? Did you get to see at some point when you travel enough, you know what happens? It's all the same. This is all the same. And my view now, you know what it's become? Places don't excite me. It's people. I don't remember places. I just remember the people I met. That's far more meaningful than actually the place. Because as gorgeous as it may be, a mountain is just, I've seen another mountain. A beach is also a beach. This one had sand and that one also had sand. Right? You'll get bored. So now if the idea is I can get bored on an island in Hawaii, I can get bored on a ski resort eventually, then what's going to happen in Jannah? I'm going to get bored eventually, right? And Allah says, An-Na'im, you'll feel luxury, comfort, joy constantly. There is no boredom. You know, the only way human beings don't feel boredom is when something new happens. So embedded in this word is the notion that Jannah, something new is always happening. Something new is always happening. Something that didn't happen before. I met somebody who told me, I really love chess. And I don't want to go to Jannah for, company. I don't like people, but I like chess. And I just want to solve math. I love math problems. I just want to solve math problems. I was like, I think we can help you with that. I'm pretty sure there's a Jannah for math nerds. They'll have what they want. And you know what? If they've solved 1,000 problems, there will be the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And some of you are sports freaks. You're like, I want a basketball court that is like so legit. Like, okay, so you got your basketball court. It's Jannah. You can't miss a shot. You'll eventually start getting like, watch this, watch this, watch that. You kick the ball in. Like, it doesn't matter which way you throw the ball. It goes in. Eventually, you start getting. I mean, there's no challenge here. This is always going in. No, there's mukth in Jannah. There's anticipation of new excitement. There's something new that's coming. Right? وَمِمَّا لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. So Allah says, لَهُمْ مَا يَشَاءُونَ فِيهَا. They'll have what they want in it. They'll have and what we want is pretty limited. Well, let's be honest. There's what you want is a list of things, and you can't think past that because your imagination kind of runs out. Right? And even if you have everything you want, eventually even that you won't want anymore. Right? Allah, what does Allah do in the Quran? He says, لَهُمْ مَا يَشَاءُونَ فِيهَا. They'll have what they want. That also is a problem, because what I want will eventually be not so wanted. So he says, وَلَدَيْنَا مَزِيدٌ. And we've got something more. And he doesn't say what that more is, just to let you know. He's got you covered. He knows you have an insatiable desire for new. In fact, beauty is associated with creativity. And creativity is actually always something new. Right? Adventure is associated with excitement. And excitement can only be something new. And Jannat al-Na'im is Allah saying, I'll keep giving you something new, and you'll keep experiencing new ni'mah, new ni'mah, new ni'mah. Because if it's the old ni'mah, it won't feel like a ni'mah anymore. It won't feel like a ni'mah. So, إِنَّ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ جَنَّاتِ النَّعِيمِ. Allah made human beings strange. If we were living on the most beautiful planet on earth, and there was a ship there, so you can leave if you want, would we stay or would we leave? Eventually, we'd leave. Like, I need to know what's out there. No, it's really bad out there. Well, I want to experience the bad then, because I need to experience something new. I need something more. Now, so just like, the torture and the humiliation of the kafir, one ayah was enough. Allah said, سَنَسِمُهُ عَلَى الْخُرْطُومِ. That was enough. Just like that for the believer, this one ayah was enough. إِنَّ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ جَنَّاتِ النَّعِيمِ. أَفَنَجْعَلُ الْمُسْلِمِينَ كَالْمُجْرِمِينَ. Are we going to make the Muslims like the criminals? Shall we make the Muslims like the criminals? This is the last ayah we're discussing today. And think about this ayah. Muslims versus, you would think non-Muslims. Kafir, disbeliever. Not in this ayah. In this ayah what? Criminals. Can you tell yourself, now that I've kind of trained you a little bit on how to think about a surah, can you think of crimes that were mentioned that justify the use of the word criminal? Right? So go back to the surah again. The things you were supposed to protect yourself from as a muttaqi were listed. And those very things also happen to be what? crimes. Crimes. And not committing those crimes is what makes you Muslim. Now, our definition of Muslim has just been revolutionized. Our definition of Muslim is no longer somebody who says La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, wahdahu la sharika lahu, wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Legally, that's a Muslim. But the spirit of Islam is in the ayat of the Quran. The spirit of what is a Muslim, not the law of what is a Muslim. We have to stop thinking about Islam only through the lens of fiqh, the legal lens, the juristic lens. The fuqaha were not writing for human beings, they were writing for the courtroom. Life does not exist in the courtroom. The Quran is not written for just the courtroom. The Quran is a commentary on all life. So when we start looking at Islam through the lens of fiqh only, we are looking at Islam as if all life exists inside the courtroom. It's just law. And you know what? Law is dry and soulless. It's just technicalities. That's all it is. But life is far more colorful, far more beautiful. So there's the legal definition of Muslim, and there is the spirit of what is Islam. These ayat are establishing the spirit of Islam. Before Allah even told us in the Quran what it means to be Muslim in other, this is one of the earliest surahs, remember. So the first thing Muslims were thinking when this revelation came, oh, a Muslim is someone who doesn't make false oaths. A Muslim is someone who doesn't go around spreading slander. A Muslim is someone who, these were the definitions. He's not a halaf. He's not mahin. He's not hammaz, masha' bin namib. He's not manna' lil khayr. He's not mu'tad. He's not athim. He's not utul. He's not zanim. He's not thinking that he has more value because he has mal wa banin. He's not like the people of this garden who try to deprive us. This is what a Muslim is. And in their mind, the first definition in the Quran, arguably, the opposite of a Muslim is not a kafir. The opposite of a Muslim is a mujrim, is a criminal. Is a criminal. SubhanAllah. What a way to define religion. The one who surrenders to Allah refuses to do wrong to their creation, to his creation. That's the meaning. The word jirm, in Arabic, jirm, means a heavy body. And from it came the word jurm, which is used for heavy crime. So one of the Arabic words for crime is ijram or jurm. And jurm means serious crime, not just any crime. Like a small sin can be dhanb, right? A vile evil deed can be called a sayyi'ah. There are different words in Arabic for sin and crime. But this word is used for serious crime. And so now Allah is describing what He just described, that greed and that behavior, as a serious crime. أَفَنَجْعَلُ الْمُسْلِمِينَ كَالْمُجْرِمِينَ. Shall we make the Muslims like the mujrimin? مَا لَكُمْ كَيْفَ تَحْكُمُونَ. What's wrong with you? How do you make your decisions? You know, there was a narration around these ayat, on the context of these ayat. But we'll talk about that narration, inshallah, tomorrow. But today I'll leave you with this one thing associated with these narrations. One of the blessings Allah has given me is the opportunity to spend time with different groups of society, different fragments of society. So I've been in the company of governments, higher ups in governments. I've met military generals and things like that. I've spent some time in their circles, learned a little bit from them. I've spent some time with business people, not just business people like rich business people. I'm talking about rich business people. Like, let me take you in my helicopter to my village, and we're going to fly over the highway that I built from the city to my village. Rich people, right? And I've been in the company of, alhamdulillah, youth, you know, people that are working in the field of dawah, scholars, different parts of society. And I've had the opportunity to spend some time with the ultra wealthy. And I've noticed something about the ultra wealthy. Not all, but enough in different society. They feel as if Allah chose them. Like they're special to Allah. So Allah chose them for this incredible position of superiority over the rest of that society. And as a result, they are extra blessed by Allah. And somehow or the other, they have this idea that Allah blessed them so much here, which must mean Allah is really happy with them. And those are the people that they don't say it directly. Here's how they say it. I don't know why some people in Islam keep talking about hellfire. Allah is merciful. He's going to put us in Jannah. It's, and it's always come from the ultra wealthy. They say that stuff. And you know why? They got a little taste of some Jannah here, and they really like it. And they come up with a worldview. And that worldview, if I don't sugarcoat it and I spell it out, you know what that worldview is? Allah gave me a glimpse of Jannah here. Why would He deprive me in the next life? Allah loves me so much, He even showed me Jannah here. Clearly, I'm entitled to the next life too. And if Allah didn't love me, and if Allah really hated me, and Allah doesn't like me, why would He give me this place, this position, this mansion, this wealth, this status, this? Clearly, this is an endorsement from God. This is an endorsement from God. This is a worldview that exists, a worldview in which if you do well in this life, that must mean God is happy with you. In the Christian world, the version of this in the Christian world is called the prosperity gospel. Okay? So the preacher will come out wearing a Rolex, wearing his, Italian suit, and he's going to land in his helicopter by the mega church and he say, the Lord's been good to me this week. I got myself a new Rolex. The Lord is good. God is kind. And it's time for you to be blessed by the Lord after you make your donation, of course. So the idea is that God is so good, and look at the proof, the Rolex. Look at the proof, look at this new suit I bought. Look at the house I just got. Look at the chopper I flew in on, etc., etc. Prosperity gospel. And so some people believed that because they have the garden, Allah would never destroy my garden. In fact, this garden is a preview of what? The next garden. وَلَئِن رُدِدتُّ إِلَىٰ رَبِّي لَأَجِدَنَّ خَيْرًا مِنْهَا مُنْقَلَبًا in Surah Al-Kahf. The guy had his garden. He said, even if Allah does take me back and there is an afterlife, God will give me better than here. If the afterlife is more grand than here, it'll be better than here. And some mushrikun said that to the Prophet ﷺ. If God loved you so much, why are you the one taking a beating? Why are we the millionaires? أَنُطْعِمُ مَنْ لَوْ يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ أَطْعَمَهُ. In Surah Yasin, the Quraysh said this. The Quraysh said, you want me to feed the poor? Your God who owns everything, if He really wanted to feed the poor, He's much wealthier than I am. He could have fed them Himself. If God wanted these people fed, He would have fed them Himself. He want me to feed them. أَنُطْعِمُ مَنْ لَوْ يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ أَطْعَمَهُ. This was their attitude. This is, by the way, the new political version of that is, we don't want freeloaders in our society. People should work for what we don't want anybody just benefiting, leeching off of society, right? And the only people who say that usually are people that have the garden set. And mostly the garden came from daddy. It didn't come from their hard work, right? It came from some kind of nepotism or some kind of inherited wealth. And now they talk about the poor and how they're just not working hard and they just want to get a free ride, right? They speak like this. And so Allah is describing this entire, and I'm sure some version of that existed among these gardeners that were so easily depriving the miskin because they actually looked at the miskin with disdain. Like, you people are lazy, that's why you're miskin. You people don't work hard, that's why you're miskin. You people don't want to change your situation, that's why you're miskin. I hate these people because they're so lazy, because they're so. I look up to people who built their success, their empire with their own hands, as if rizq comes just from hard work. Whatever position I'm in, you're in, and anybody else in, I can guarantee you there's someone who works 10 times harder than you and is in a position 10 times worse than you. I can guarantee you. And there's somebody who doesn't even work, and they're in a position 1,000 times better than you. Rizq is not the product of our hard work. Yes, we must do hard work, but in the end, the rizq will be decided from Allah. There will be students, you're university students, there will be students who are studying, barely pass. And then there are students who you dream of killing in the daytime. When's the exam again? When's the final again? Oh, is it 45 minutes? Oh my God, I totally forgot. And then they get an A. There are those students. And we all wish them the worst. Because you look at, I did so much work, and this guy just walks in and then the first one to finish the exam, right? If they had a car, you'd want to slash their tires. Do something. Do something. Bring some justice from the universe to the equation, right? But Allah Azza wa Jalla has given us a balance now. At the end of all of the story, Allah has defined what is a Muslim, what is a Mujrim. What is it? And the Muslim is someone who surrenders. Literally, salima means to surrender to Allah's will. But you've heard Islam means surrender. I'm sure you've heard that before. But let's dig a little bit deeper, and I'll let you guys go for the day. Salam is a tree that doesn't get damaged, a safe tree, meaning the winds don't damage it, rain doesn't damage it. It's in a secure location. Salamun, as a silam actually, is a rock that is not cracked. So it's a large boulder that's not cracked. This part of your finger is called a salama. And it's interestingly called a salama because this is the least likely to get injured, because if something's coming your way, it's probably going to touch your fingers before it gets to this. It's the safest part of your hand. So it's called a silama. As-salimu min al-hafir, so the horse has a hoof, right? And the hoof, like the U-shaped horseshoe, for example, right? So the part of the U part is the safest because it's protected by the metal. And so the part that's right underneath that metal is called the silav, the salim of the horse. Because if a rock or something that does pierce, it'll pierce through the middle, but it won't pierce through the sides of it. You understand? So the salam is something sturdy, something strong, something secure. This is why salam is used, or sulam is used for a ladder. Because a ladder, you take one secure step, then another secure step, then another secure step. Salim or salima, the verb, is used when you get better from a sickness. You become sturdy and strong again. So it reinforced. And salim or silm is used when society comes back and becomes stable and strong and is no longer afflicted with war. From it came the idea, rajulun salamun li rajul, when a person devotes themselves completely to someone else. In other words, I feel like I'm safest with this person. I'm going to give myself entirely, completely vulnerable to another person. You're salam to that person. When you hand something over, like a payment over entirely, it's called aslama shay'u ilayhi. And from it came the idea of surrender. Now the Muslim is someone who hands themselves over entirely to Allah, and they're fully confident that they're safe in Allah's hands. Just like all the things that are safe are from salama, we hand our safety over to Allah. So we're peacefully, they say peaceful surrender because you're feeling safe with Allah. So the people that surrender before Allah are feeling safe from bankruptcy, they're feeling safe from loss, they're feeling safe from being left behind. You know, there's a teacher who reaches out to me from a school who all the teachers that are corrupt and take bribes and do all this other stuff, they keep getting promotions and she doesn't get a promotion because she knows that it's haram. But she's content with that because she knows Allah will keep me safe. So He'll keep me safe from their schemes. He'll keep me safe from not losing my rizq. I've surrendered myself to Allah. So these are the Muslimin. أَفَنَجْعَلُ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. It's actually, the word Islam has in it a great deal of tawakkul. Because we're never vulnerable to someone and so give ourselves to someone unless we completely trust them. And so Allah is saying to be in Islam, you must develop absolute trust that Allah will keep you safe. And only then will you be able to surrender to Allah's commandments. That's when you'll be able to do that. And these criminals, they commit their crimes because they think that will keep them safe. They keep the poor away because that way their wealth will be safe. They're actually running after safety too. So now Allah has shown us two quests for safety. A quest for safety that is when we point towards Him, and a quest of safety that's going to lead towards crime. With that, inshallah, I'll conclude today's dars. Barakallahu li wa lakum fil Qur'an al-Hakim, wa nafa'ani wa iyyakum bil ayati wa dhikr al-Hakim.
Hey guys, you just watched a small clip of me explaining the Quran in depth as part of the Deeper Look series. Studying the Quran in depth can seem like a really intimidating thing that's only meant for scholars. Our job at Bayyinah is to make deeper study of the Quran, accessible and easy for all of you. So take us up on that challenge. Join us for this study, the deeper look of the Quran, for this surah and many other surahs on bayyinatv.com under the Deeper Look section.